Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of We Culture. It is Friday, yes, indeed. And usually at this time, of course, we delve into issues and reminisce and do everything, even current topical issues. And the thing is, they all help shape who we are. They all influence our lives in different ways, and of course this is what culture is all about, different aspects of things. So it's a pleasure to be back with you this week. For the past 2 weeks there was some major activities happening. Of course, last Friday we had the River Sally Sarka. Doc was up there, Scholar was there, and so a lot of things have been happening, just coming from Carifta Games, and well, you all know all that's been going on, but we're back, and of course there's some very topical things happening, and of course we touch everything that shape our lives in one way or the other. So we welcome all of you on GBN Television, our friends on our Facebook page and YouTube channel, and of course our listeners on K105 FM. It is a pleasure to be here with you this evening. So Doc is here. The others have not joined in as yet. So Doc, good evening, man. How are you doing?
Pretty good. Good evening to all the listeners out there on the various medium. But we have to say that, to me, I feel it's like, yes, so many things have been happening.
Quite a lot.
We were unable. I, in particular, didn't give my 2 pence on some of the issues. So I think, not going back, we can't adjust everything. But you mentioned the Salaka, so maybe there's a good start.
Yeah, that was.
Now, so, the first one is that, the Grenada Cultural Foundation has played a major role in assisting the River Sally or the River Sally committee, and this year was no exception. I can tell you, for a long time, I never felt that kind of spirit, community spirit, as I felt in River Sally last Friday. It was a real bumper event. We had some performances, just to kind of enhance the whole experience, what takes place, but we try to make it as authentic as possible. Stay in tune with what Salaka is all about. But Salaka is about contributing, people coming to contribute, the community coming to bring goods, the labor, volunteer the labor resources, and people coming to eat, and it doesn't matter who come, everyone shares. Everyone can participate in the eating. So I think that was really captured. And so again, enough commendation to the River Sally Committee for hosting that. We have a new one coming up. That is the Carrier. They call it the Carrier Bashilaka. The Cultural Foundation is, yes. And why it's called Bashilaka, unlike Salaka, is because they try to use calabash as much as possible to share the dishes. So again, go up, get in contact. One guy, Thaddeus Peters, has a committee. He's chairman of that committee. And, they have it in the Carrier Pasture on the 3rd of May. So I think, make it a special date. Go up and participate in that activity.
Doc, strangely enough, I have not been to the Carrier one, I think the River Sally one, I've been there, so many times. I didn't go this year, I couldn't make it, but I have not been to, and I think one of the problems with me and the Carrier, I always miss the date. So the week before, I remember it's coming up, and then the week after, I remember, it was last week. So I have to make a special effort to go to Carrier this year, definitely, because I have two bashi here.
Yeah, two bashi.
Yeah, two bashi. I have a bashi.
One at a time.
You don't listen, man. I have a. You see, you have to understand. You when you go and you buy a plate set, right? You just get different size, and it's for different things. You understand? So you have a big plate for you have a big plate that you put all the food and thing, and then you have another plate, a little thing where you put your salad or whatever it is. So that is my vibe. So I have a special bashi for That
it's a long time to go. It's a long time to go around Salaka because you're supposed to have one small one for the soup.
Well,
And let me say, the pea soup is cooked without no meat. The most you can have in that pea soup. In any Salaka is supposed to be salt fish. So usually it's dumpling with peas. And because of the time it is happening, it's usually dried peas. But in some instances, they also have green peas. When you come to shop, we can get dry peas, the pigeon peas. They might go red beans, but it's pea soup with the dumpling and a little salty sometimes no meat at all.
Yeah. No. I mean,
the plates.
Let me tell you, I think the best pea soup in Universal Saraka is up on the hill by Four Brass and them, you know. Let me tell you, up there.
Well.
You can't. When it comes to the pea soup, you can't beat them. I bet in anything. I bet in anything.
I don't know because everybody have their own bragging rights. So I don't know about that.
No, I tell you,
because I think it's conviction when you highlight one person. But anyway,
no, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that the other pea soup ain't good. I'm just saying up there, and you know what I'm talking about, right?
I know you're saying that, but you highlight one you think is the best.
I mean that pea soup, that pea soup to me.
So,
but how was in terms of just before we go, in terms of previous years, how was it turnout? I mean, I know it's usually big, but how was it turnout this year?
The turnout, people came out later this year, later than this year, but the turnout was really good.
I picked up that.
I thought that they got a very fair crowd at River Sally, and people really patronized in many places. As I said, the atmosphere in River Sally last Friday was very cordial, peaceful. I mean, I just felt so comfortable over there this year. I mean, more than other years. So it was. I think the atmosphere was really good. And as I said, we did establish a cultural or Salaka village,
right,
where we had the judging of the trees. We had the trees. People brought the trees to the pasture. We had drumming. We had all those things. We had steel walkers, etc. So it was a really good atmosphere at Riverside.
Right.
So
wonderful.
Next year, guys, I will at least go visit Salaka if you miss Riverside. Carrier is on the 3rd. Visit Carrier. It's a much more intimate experience in Carrier because almost everything is in that close proximity. And Carrier was noting, when you go back to the history, for having Salaka probably older than most of the places that are having Salaka today. Carrier, when you go back into the annals of history.
And I think so the estates, where you had estates, it was very prominent, because the people who worked there, they were very much into that. Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
So just before
one time I did an interview with a lady in her 80s. She died now. And she was mentioning that Carrier had one of the biggest Salaka around the place. Again, they are bringing it back. Right. So that was one. I don't know how quick. The second issue I wanted to mention, it's about the Carrier
games.
Yeah, but in particular the last race, which was so unfortunate. I just want to point out that sports, the main reason for officiating is to create a balanced
environment. Yes, balanced field for the guys.
A fair playing ground for all. And I think the officials really, for want of a better word, they really screwed up. And I will tell you why I say that. A race is unfair if it is the fault of the officials, if there is a false start by the officials. But a race is unfair if the field, almost the entire field, get a start, whether this should the work of the officials or not. Well, I say that, let me explain that a little bit. I think whether the second gun was fired or not is irrelevant in my mind. The fact that you had roughly 7 or 8 participants and half the field did not move out at the time, it means that the race is an unfair race. It could have been a secondary reason why they did not, because it's not a normal thing for 4 persons not to hear the gun or not to go with the first gun. And because of that, it means that from the word go, it is an unfair field. So it's actually a false start.
It
You
is.
have an event where you have 8 athletes or 7 competing in an event, and 4 of the athletes, by some reason or the other, did not go when the gun went off. It is an unfair race.
It
And
is.
it is a false start. It has nothing to, whether the officials fire the gun or not, it is a false start because it creates an uneven playing field for the athletes. So I thought that the officials really missed, and I just wanted to say that because I think most people thinking about whether the gun fire or not. I think it is more than that.
Yeah. The other thing
condition has to be even.
Yeah. The other thing
also appear to be.
The other thing, Doc, and I don't know, and I'm saying that here very cautiously. I don't know if it happened, but I did not hear the Grenada Athletic Association or the organizing body come out and make an apology to the Grenadian people for that. I think they owed it, but I don't know if it happened. Like I said, I did not hear, so I'm saying this cautiously. But if they didn't, I think it is gross disrespect because people were really up in arms. It did not go down well with the public, and the fact that it was a fault of an official that was selected by the organizing body, I think the body needs to do that if they did not. So that's my only thing.
One of the things you talk about, and I think in observation about the Grenadian culture, is that we as a people, we go out of our way to make other people comfortable. Sometimes we stand the risk sometimes of, help me find the word, of alienating our own. So all along, I think the rest of the team were having a bumper time because our Grenadian officials went out of their way to try to be as fair as possible to everyone. And I congratulate them for that. I think that speaks to us. We always try to make our guests feel comfortable in our homes. But sometimes we go above because we want to be so careful and so fair that we end up cheating our own, just so that we don't deprive or appear to deprive our guests.
Right.
And I think probably that is what was in the mind of our Grenadian officials.
Right. Yeah. So we're gonna take a break now. When we come back tonight, we're discussing the issue that arose in the Catholic Church with Father Gerard Paul and the bishop. So we're going to go to the break. When we come back, we'll be talking about that. And of course, we will be engaging you, our listeners, to hear your views on some of the things. I mean, there's been a lot of different views out there, but tonight we're talking about that. So stay with us. We'll be back in just a moment.
On fire. A little more color.
What if you had a choice? A choice of joining a line or a choice of making your purchases online? What would you choose? While you ponder on that, the National Lotteries Authority has provided another purchasing option. All their games are now available online. Yes, Grenadians, from wherever you are, purchase your favorite daily and jackpot type games using any electronic device. Register on the NLA's website at www.nla.gd. Top up your account and enjoy online lottery gaming at your convenience. We're taking shopping comfort up, up, up several notches, but the choice is yours. Join a line or buy online. NLA, make your dreams come true.
Well, good evening and welcome. It's time for the NLA's Daily Pick 3 Evening Draw for today, Friday, the 12th of April, 2024. I'm Lexan Fletcher and I'll be your draw hostess for this evening. And joining me is Ms. Kanife Edwards. She's representing RSO & Company Limited Accountants and Advisors. Now, Ms. Edwards is here to ensure the games are conducted in a fair and accountable manner. Now, the game balls have not been tampered with and are within industry standards. Well, don't forget with the Pick 3 game, you can bet as little as $1 on inline mix and pair tickets and from $2 on backup tickets. Let's find out what the winning numbers will be for this evening. It pays to play. Good luck to you. And the first is, first up is 9, second 2, final is 3. If you got your tickets, double check them now. I'll recap. First up was 9, the second 2, final 3. Congratulations if you're with it this evening. Congrats also to our 55 winners from the midday draw. We had a total payout of $8,810. Congratulations again. Do stay tuned if you got your tickets for Playway with Multi-X because that comes up next. See you soon. Welcome back. It's the evening draw for Playway with Multi-X for today, Friday, the 12th of April, 2024. Of course, with me once again is Ms. Kanife Edwards. She's representing RSO & Company Limited Accountants and Advisors. Don't forget, when playing the Playway game, all you got to do is bet as little as $1 up to $10 or in increments on any number or dream symbol of your choice and get to win 24 times the amount you bet. That's $24 for every dollar spent. All right, let's find out firstly what the winning Playway number will be for this evening. Value your dreams. Win your way with Playway. Good luck. And the winning Playway number is winning Playway number for this evening is 7077. Dream symbol is money. Congratulations if you're a winner. And let's find out. It's time to find out what the winning Multi-X ball will be for this evening. Good luck if you place your bets. And the winning Multi-X ball is... This evening's winning Multi-X ball is 3X. That's 3X. If you're a winner, congratulations to you. Congrats also to all our midday winners. We had a total of 525 winners with a grand total payout of $58,488. Congrats again. Do stay tuned. Cash for draw is coming up next. See you then. Welcome back once again. It is the evening draw for the daily cash flow game for today, Friday, the 12th of April, 2024. Of course, with me once again, Ms. Kanife Edwards. She's representing RSO & Company Limited Accountants and Advisors. Now, don't forget, with the cash flow game, you can bet as little as $1 on most of the bet times, with the exception of backup, in which case you bet $2. I hope you placed your bets, and I hope you got your tickets. Let's find out what the winning numbers will be for this evening. It's more plays, bigger prices. Good luck. First up is 2, second 8, good 5, final is 9. All right, let's do a quick recap, double check your tickets. First up was 2, the second 8, third 5, final 9. Congratulations if you're a winner this evening. Congrats also to our winners from the midday draw. We had a total of 14 winners with a total payout of $3,200. Congratulations again. And just a reminder, we do have the lotto draw this evening as well. The estimated jackpot is $108,000. But before we take a break, before that, just remind you of an exciting promotion that is back. Of course, it's the buy 5, get 1 free daily games BOGO. And this time around, the promotion will run from the 15th of April, that's next Monday, up until Saturday the 20th. Here's a quick reminder of how this game works. For every $5 you spend on a single ticket in daily cash for Pick 3, and Playway, excluding Multi-X, you'll receive a free quick pick ticket valued at $1. For daily cash 4 and Pick 3, the ticket will be an inline bet, and the more tickets you buy in increments of $5 in a single purchase, the more free quick tickets you'll get to receive. We'll keep reminding you of this promotion momentarily, and just do stay tuned and do keep playing. But until then, get your tickets out, be ready for the lotto draw. That comes up next. See you then. Good evening once again and welcome back. It's time for the National Lottery Authority's Lotto Draw number 3641 for this evening, Friday, the 12th of April, 2024. The estimated jackpot for this evening is $108,000. And of course, with me once again is Miss Kanife Edwards. She's representing our Zone Company Limited accountants and advisors. Certainly hope you have your tickets for this evening's draw. Let's find out firstly what the free ticket letter will be. If you do, good luck to you. Free ticket letter is the letter F as in free. That's F as in free. And it's time to move on to select tonight's 5 winning numbers. The estimated jackpot, just a reminder, is $108,000. Good luck to you. And the first is first number 24. Second. Let's do some recapping right now. Firstly, the free ticket letter. That letter was F. That's F as in free. That's F as in free. And the 5 winning numbers for $108,000. If you got your tickets, double check them carefully. First up was 24, 2424. The second was 5, 055. Third, 10, 10, 10. Fourth was 34. That's 3434. And the final was 11, 11, 11. This has been Lotto Play and win a lot. And if you have these numbers, you're a winner. Congratulations to you. Here's urging you to get your tickets and do continue to support sports, culture, and nation building. Have a good night.
Like family, it's always exciting when lottery players get together. Now the lottery games are joining in the fun. Check out the multiplier family of Instacash games. 5 times the cash at $2, 10 times the cash at $3, and 20 times the cash at $5. On your tickets, match any of our numbers with any of the winning numbers and win the prize below that number. There's more. Multiply your winnings up to 5 times, 10 times, or 20 times more. Winning is easy. Play Monday to Sunday. There are no draws to wait on. Win instantly. It's the multiplier family of Instacash games with over $675,000 to be won instantly. Don't just buy one, buy all, because family is everything. Must be 18 years and older to play. NLA, making family dreams come true.
Blast Gaming is where dreams come true and jackpots are won. Dive into a world of delightful experiences and daring action. From the moment you step through the doors, have the time of your life, feel the energy, soak in the excitement, and let the good times roll. Blast is more than just a place to play. It's where friends socialize, cocktails flow, and a safe space for those who dream big and dare to have fun while doing it. Blast Gaming. Know your limit, play within it. You must be 18 and over.
Kiriko Maroon and String Band Music Festival 2024, April 26th to the 28th. Coming together to preserve and showcase our culture is who we are. Friday the 26th, Salute at the Chapel. Early morning libation, 3 p.m. Saraka, 7 p.m. the official opening ceremony and cultural evening. Saturday from 10 a.m. Hillsborough Square. It's Strings in the City. Then at 8 p.m. we move to the Botanical Gardens for Cultural Explosion with local and regional performances featuring Touch, the band. Admission $60. Then on Sunday, it's the grand finale, Paradise Beach. From 12 noon, musical entertainment. And from 4 p.m., Paradise Beach Friends, cultural entertainment and live music. Admission $20. Come and learn to dance the quadrille and big drum on Paradise Beach every Sunday after the launch until the festival ends. Kirikou Maroon and String Band Music Festival 2024, April 26th to the 28th.
Are you looking for a reliable, affordable, and customer-friendly pharmacy? Look no further than Hills and Valley Pharmacy, the nation's leading healthcare products and services provider. We are committed to serving you at convenient locations. Find an extensive and affordable selection of prescription and over-the-counter drugs and medical supplies at Church Street, Hillsborough, Kirikou, Jubilee Street, Grenville, St. Andrew, near the bus terminal, and Halifax and Grenville Street, St. George. Our committed team is always available to offer valuable assistance for managing your health and wellness. Discover the additional benefits of our wholesale distribution on Halifax Street and our Medcare Center on Grenville Street, where we provide in-house physiotherapy, massage therapy, doctor consultations, and eye care services. Our commitment is to satisfy all your healthcare needs, including competitive prices, loyalty rewards, and special discounts for seniors. Contact us at 435-6904 and WhatsApp 535-4734. Choose Hills and Valley Pharmacy. Remember, your health is our business.
Raise it high up the ladder. Let we set it on fire. A little more calypso. Forget the funk and the disco. A little more limbo. A little more shango.
Welcome back, everyone. It's We Culture. And those of you just joining us, we are very happy to have you. And of course, as I said earlier, we're looking forward to hearing from you a little later on in the program. Well, the King has joined us. Finley, good evening, man. How are you doing?
I do them. I'm jamming.
Yeah. Who them? Who them you doing?
I bongs, you know.
You tangle then?
I tell you, right now, bongs, you know.
Let me ask you, if you bongs in low, who watching?
Well, that is what dark and.
No man, Doc tell him who watching. If he bongs in low, who watching? You don't know this song, man. Lane and Henry.
Doc, you on mute.
Yeah, take it out now.
But
Yes.
Doc, I don't really know who is Lane and Henry.
No, I don't know who's Lane and Henry. Who's Lane and Henry? Some Tivoli man?
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Let me tell you, when you listen to Tangla, all them names that you have in the song is fellas from around. Tivoli, Down the Road, Ahoma.
Yeah, I'm glad to stop that.
What do you mean to stop that? When you sing it, it's called Shanti Melman, you know, CT Sai. I don't get it.
I was call a few, but I'm glad all the man who can call a lot of man in that song. And I mean, I know right now, Tivoli men trending.
Trending. Watch. Hold on. Let me correct you. When you see, when you're speaking, you have to make sure you speak properly. And because English is a funny thing. You can't say Tivoli men trending is one man in Tivoli that trending. So that's the Doc. I don't trending. Doc is the man that trending. Yeah, what do you mean?
Doc are trending?
Yeah.
I don't know what he means. The eye trending.
How Doc Richard trend?
Yeah?
How Doc Richard trend?
What do you mean by Doc Richard trend?
Doc is our president.
No, you see, you change the thing. Hold on, let me tell you something. You see, you that man. You don't know thing. If you say conference man trending. That's a different story.
Let me tell you something. Ahoma, La Poetry, Conference. All that place are in Stivoli.
Hold on. Let Dodo hear you. Let Dodo Charles hear you say that. You go find out. And she log on it.
Place are in Stivoli.
By now, by Tivoli start by
You're right. We just claim all of them.
Tivoli start down the road.
When good things happening.
That place are in Stivoli, boy.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, guys. We touching a very topical issue tonight. The whole issue.
But hold on, before you touch that, you and Doc talk about the character. Doc tell me I talk about the character. Two men are in the character. Talk about the character.
Why you make it talk about character?
I might talk about psycho, but not character. The character.
By what? Don't make me start to explanation. Don't make me start to explanation about character.
Scholar is one, you see, we talk about. Let me go to the substantive matter now.
Yeah.
What you want to say about character? Just say it, and then what you want to say about character?
I don't want to say nothing now. I just want to tell all you I have no moral authority. and tonight is a night we talk about moral authority. So,
Mr. Man, let me tell you something. Me and Doc have more moral authority to speak on character than you and a lot of them that making mistake and jumping up, because me and Doc, we've been there, done that. We represented with pride and honor. As Doc.
Boy, when you and Doc going character, that's not character.
That's what?
I don't know. That's not character.
Darren character's character. He had record. Listen,
when you
Grenada have a record in character from since that time, that can't break you.
I don't tell you no, but when you and Doc going character is so on grass.
What that man? Doc, let me tell you, just to set the tone, to go into our thing, allow to the scholar. I cannot blame you for what you don't know. I cannot blame you
Scholar, who give you permission to speak?
There we go. Why you gonna tell us you don't need permission?
Well, let me tell you something. Doc, I find you tease me and tell me. The only thing I'm missing is the air. You know, you could tease me and tell me I look at how movies live. Me old man tell me. Now I understand why you doing this stupidness in your hair. You know? The priest to follow it.
Well, that's a good person to follow. You can't go wrong, you know.
Yeah, actually, at a distance, I have a look like it.
Yeah. But in any event, guys, it's a very topical issue. It has created quite a lot of talk. And from what I heard and I followed, this whole thing started with the statement that Father Paul made regarding the Gaza-Israel situation, which I think is a rather unfortunate thing. I think the last count I heard was over 33,000 people have died in Gaza. I think only today another bomb injured about 5 or 7 people, including a CNN reporter. So I mean, it's over and above, and I think it's time that I want to go even further than Father Paul and say not just pastors and priests and bishop and pope, but everybody, every little boy, girl, dog, cat should be speaking against this kind of genocide and suffering. It's overbearing. Way too much.
Doc, go on first.
Yeah, Doc. And then we'll come.
Go on, man, because we know you have to go. We know you have to go in Africa and walk your way up to Gaza, and then go ahead, no, man.
You know, I will start. The question of the day, people asking, was the priest right or wrong in making his pronouncement, the time he made it, and in the way he made it. And I'm going to answer that in 2 ways. I believe the priest would be wrong, or was wrong, to make this statement if his sole commitment was just to the institution, the church. When you go and you join a service-oriented organization like the church, or like even the RGPF, you can join it with the basis that you're going for pay, just for pay, and you go in and join it because you want to follow the rules that is existing there. But on the other hand, I believe we as a priest, and if I know anything about Gerard Paul, Gerard had what I call a higher calling. A calling where he believed that he was called to service for humanity. He was called as a testimony to truth. He was called to serve his Lord. And everything else was secondary. So, example, if you look at what you may, like in the Bible, he said, I am the Lord thy God. Example, in the first commandment. And he said, thou shalt have no other God before me. The fifth one said, thou shalt not kill. The seventh one said, thou shalt not steal. And the eighth one said, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's goods. So that is the commandment. But if you take it beyond that, there are 10 essential principles that govern Catholicism. And it involves one, respect, and every Catholic is expected to follow. Respect human dignity, defend the life and dignity of all people. Catholics are called to actively work to right the wrongs, to right for good causes. And under care and compassion, he said Catholics are called to feel another pain, cry out or anguish, and to respond. And under service, Catholics are called to serve one another humbly and unselfishly. With that basis, I believe that truth speaks, and truth should speak at any time. And calling on your own institution to go back and to respect the guiding principles of that institution, in my mind, could never be wrong. And if you look all over, and you look at probably the role of Jesus, Nelson Mandela, all the people that have done things in their life to make life a little bit easier for us, they have done so by stepping out and going against the established authority, even within their own institution, in order to ensure that that institution, what it preaches, remain true to form. And so on that basis, I am in full solidarity with Gerard Paul for the stand he took. And I leave that as my opening salvo.
Squalls?
Yeah, well,
Dark Lego are two things there.
Dark Lego are salvo. That go back into Catholic. How you call it? Catholicism?
Catholicism.
Yes, 10 essential principles of Catholicism.
Catholicism and so on. I am going quite in Catholicism. You know, the truth of the matter is, we've had Gerard Paul on We Culture before. And strangely enough, it was not Gaza you're speaking about, but he made the exact point that the Catholic Church has not done enough to speak on the ills and so on that of the world. He referenced slavery and the church's participation in slavery. He referenced Bartholomew de las Casas. You remember when
Yes.
He referenced all that, and he took his church to task. So it is not that. And I've heard they say, you know, when he made it, wrong timing, and so on and so forth. But my thing is, he didn't just jump out from out of the blues and speak these things. He has been speaking these things forever. Good point. Whether it be in Holy Week, outside of Holy Week, whatever. He has been, because the twice or three times that we've had Jared Paul on this program, he referenced the very same thing. All right? So you know that this is a mantra of his, and this is something that he feels strongly about. But I will go so far as to say this, right? Because I've listened to different programs on the subject, listened to different church leaders speaking on the subject, speaking in reference to the church as a body with a certain degree of hierarchy, a hierarchical structure, and there has to be some sort of respect and reverence for people at the top, you know. Yes. And so I've listened to people like Pastor Simon, and so on. They had a very interesting interview with him where he referenced all of those things. And the truth be told, my reference points, and I'll say this unequivocal, all right? Because one thing I've always been certain about is that Christianity, whatever it is, never understood, and maybe that is why they are Christians, because the Christ part of the Jesus Christ is what formed the thing, right? And the Christ was the man who performed the miracles and so on and so forth. But Jesus was a different creature altogether. And Jesus was the rebel kind of guy. And as a matter of fact, you had this little fella from way back since he was you remember when his mother and father leave him in the synagogue and they forgot him and they told him, say, hey, well, we be son. And they go back, they meet him chastising men in the synagogue and teaching and so on. And remember, you had all the big high priests and them, and when they laugh, you watching them and tell them, verily, verily, I say unto thee. Now, high priests and so on at that time, those were the men up there in authority. Right. So when we speak about men in authority and church having this authoritative structure and you have to reference and so on, imagine this little fella telling this big high man and a man, verily, verily, I say unto thee, and all this kind of thing, and chastising them. And as a matter of fact, this is why they hung him. They didn't hang him because he performed miracles and so on. They hung him because he was a non-conformist. Right? That's why they hung him. And he spoke his truth, regardless to what. He didn't bother once anybody laps. Wherever the donkey go the load, he beat it. That's what they hung him for. Right? And I am one who will say unequivocally, when I listen to all of these things, if Jesus was to come back right now, doing the very same things that he did from way back in the Bible, the very same things, the same church people today hanging him. They crucify him?
No, definitely.
I agree.
No, let me tell you something. I listened, and there were a number of things that I was very uncomfortable with. And I'll tell you the first one. When I looked at the video when Father Gerard Paul spoke, from my understanding, he called on everyone. In fact, he started by saying, I call on pastors, I call on priests, I call on... So in my opinion, he did not single out the Catholic Church per se, but he was speaking there specifically to religious leaders to play their part in ensuring that, something is said, and he was asking for them to speak. Now, what I found laughable was that when the bishop responded, his response was, "It is untrue to say that we did not think about Gaza." Well, I never heard Gerard asking him to think about Gaza. He wanted them to speak, or he wanted to speak against what was happening, not to think. Anybody could think. As a matter of fact, I think everybody in the world thinking about what is happening, because it's in our face day and night. So that's the first thing I found laughable. I mean, where he went with that think. Now, scholar, both you and Doc spoke about Jesus Christ and the way he were and all of that, the way he was. And I want to take you all to the book of Revelation in chapter 3 and verse 19. And I want to read it. And I don't know if the bishop does listen to this program, but if he does, I would want him to hear this. And it says, and that's Jesus Christ here, "As many as I love, I rebuke and chasten. Be zealous, therefore, and repent." Jesus was not no walkover. Jesus Christ was a man that dealt with issues. Things didn't just pass just so. You remember when the fellow was gambling in the temple? What he did? He took a rope, made a scourge, and he flogged them. He said, "Make not my father's house a den of thieves." So how then could Father Gerard Paul be wrong for asking the men of cloth, so to speak, to speak out on what is happening to the people in Gaza? Yes, the Hamas people, they killed what was 1,200 people, 1,200 Israelites, or 800 thereabout. But to date, you have killed over 33,000 people. And that is not just bombing people. You're starving them. People don't have nowhere to stay. I mean, it's just... Look, I used to be following this thing every day. And now I can't anymore. It is too depressing. It is too depressing. I can't follow it. So, I mean, I don't understand. How is it that Father Gerard Paul could make a call, such an important call, to priests and bishop and everybody else to speak out about what is happening, and you have a problem with that? And speaking about respect for authority.
Hold on that. And Godfrey, I think if we follow the thing in chronological order, because now I understand that the issue is said that the issue is not really Father Gerard Paul speaking out against the church and Gaza, and the church not saying anything about Gaza. But now the issue is Father Gerard Paul disrespect to the head of the Catholic Church in Greater. All right? I think that is now, that is what is touted as the issue. And my whole thing is that I listened to Father Paul, just as you said, when he made the call. And correctly you said that he made the call for all and sundry to start speaking forcibly about Gaza and so on. But let's say, for all intents and purposes, it was a call for the bishop and so on and so forth to make that to take. Let's say, for all intents and purposes, it was believed that that was not the right place. The right message, but not the right place. Fine, because that's what I'm hearing. The right message, not the right place. Okay, good. But I believe, honestly, if Father Paul had spoken his truth there and then, and the service went on, everything, we would not be where we are. All right? it was when the bishop retorted. And when I listened to the bishop, there was one part of what the bishop said that had me. Honestly, when he called what the man said, a
diatribe.
That to me is what sparked all of the where we are now. That's where we are now. Now, if to me the bishop had said, all right, Father Paul, anything in Gaza, okay, but I don't find that was the place to. But the first thing he said, he qualified what this man said. I mean, how could you qualify someone asking people to speak out about Gaza, regardless to us? That's right. That's right.
No, and Scholz,
everything folded.
Let me just put that in the context. Let me just add this here to you. I mean, to say, I mean, and there are people out there who do not understand what that means, what a diatribe means. It's and it is a forceful. Now listen carefully to the words. A forceful and bitter verbal attack against someone or something. What Father Paul said, does it fit into what a diatribe really is? Making a call to stop the killing of innocent men, women, and children. How does that fit with being that referred to as a diatribe? I found that statement very, very disrespectful. That's me. I found it very, very disrespectful.
I think that statement, that was where everything bang away from. You could have qualified the thing as whatever thing, but that right. A call for people to speak up about Gaza is that right. Now, I found that to me, I didn't that one. I believe within that retort by his lordship, I think this is what brought us to this to this point. And then from there, words started thing, and I think Father, the man going on program and start saying, Clyde, and he doesn't call people what he used to call the man uncle, and all this sort of rile up the bishop after. But I think it all went downhill from this diatribe thing.
So hold on. So if Gerard said Clyde, what? I don't get it. So what happened to Clyde?
You know one of the things that stood out, and I don't know. I think the bishop took it as a personal attack, when I believe that Jerry Carl was more broad-based than just a personal attack.
But it was.
The head of the church.
It was broad-based. It was a broad-based call. He called everybody.
Yeah. So apart from he called on pastors, and then apart from archdeacon, he called on bishop, and then he called on the pope. So in my mind, I don't believe that he was singling out the bishop, but I think the bishop felt maybe because he had some, past tangling, that it was a personal attack on him, but I don't believe it was just a personal attack. Something else that the bishop said, he said Jerry did not have his permission.
His permission
to speak. His permission. I guess he don't feel that was. He said that was not the right place, which is okay. He his own opinion. He don't feel that was the right place, but it also bring me to the point, and I think Scholar was kind of alluding to something like that. That Jerry was always an advocate for the church to start righting the wrong that has been going on in society. So, and when the bishop mentioned, he made that joke with Jerry, and he said I'm Muslim. I also believe that Jerry was one that was always talking in various forums and advancing or advocating for the church to be more proactive in its condemnation of the genocide that is taking place. And because he was an advocate to that, the bishop, he said, through jest, making just as a joke, he said, well, we have a Muslim among us. I believe he only came, I am assuming, he only came to that conclusion, or he only made that statement because, Jerry, that's not the first time. That's not the second time, maybe not the third time, that Jerry was saying the church should be more forceful, vociferous in its condemnation of what is taking place. So I think, but something that really hit me, I grew up here in this community in Tivoli, and I know when a priest passed guys that never went to church, smoking or using obscenity. When a priest passed before, they would hide or they would stop, they would cease from doing what they were doing. And that speaks to the kind of respect people had of the priests and the bishop and them before. But it was very, very heartening to see that people on Facebook is basically saying that they stand with Gerald Paul. And the quantity of people that was giving support, for me, it shows that Grenadians and black people as a whole is really opening their eyes now to the mischief that the church have been condoning over the years. And to me, that is very heartening, very, very, very heartening to recognize that a large number of Grenadians are coming out and say that, they have openly supporting somebody against a bishop. That I don't believe that could have been happening. That could have happened 10 years, maybe 30, 40 years ago. So it means that our society is really lifting that veil that was put on our eyes.
And clearly people are gravitating to the message that Father Paul is putting out there. People are seeing and feeling that what he is teaching makes good sense. So why would you, I heard he said talking about respect for authority, that's one of the pillars of society, respect for authority. But of course, authority needs to step up. In the days of Jesus Christ, when the scribes and Pharisees, the men who had the money and the authority, when they did wrong, didn't Jesus Christ rebuke them and call them hypocrites?
But Godfrey, and that is the point people missing. I don't believe the message of Jerry was just the condemnation of the church. I believe Jerry believed in the pureness of the institution. But what I believe, he is believed that the church was deviating from the message, from the mission that was mandated for the church to carry on. And as somebody that was within, he sees it necessary. He saw it necessary to cry out and say, we can right the wrong. And so he's calling on his fellow priests and parishioners to step up the game in making sure that they have at least a moral compass.
But Livingston, you heard Tillman in Winston White funeral?
And in Whiteman.
In Winston White funeral.
Winston White. Yes. And
Tillman?
Yes, I heard him.
And keep in mind that Tillman is a devout Catholic. Tillman is not a true Catholic. And he was openly chastising the Catholic Church for allowing and not saying anything when all the excesses were taking place during the Revolution. That was the hallmark of what basically he said. And he was forceful when he was saying it. He blamed the Catholic Church. He said, "Are you supposed? You were supposed to stand up to it."
He said, "You were wrong. I was wrong." Yeah, they was wrong.
He said that. So Tillman is that next one. Don't put him out in bag to say things, and he says what he believes. And I sit down in the pew there because I was there, and I'm twisting and I'm turning because Tillman. And Tillman lucky if Tillman had a robe or something, was like a deacon or something, they would have to kill him on the task because Tilman was very forcible. Yeah, he was very forcible then. But you also made the point about the reverence and so on. And people reverence the priests. And one thing that struck me, because to me, Paul, Father Gerard Paul has been in River Sally for a very long time. I remember I went to stand for a child in River Sally a lot of years ago, maybe 9 or so years ago. And Father Paul was the man who was sprinkling the water. In fact, he called me and telling me for the father to step forward. Me, because he thought I was the father of the child. I could never forget that, for me. So I had to tell him, Father, me not no father. When he killed himself laughing. And so, but that was about 9 years ago, 8, 9 years ago. So he has been there for some time.
Well, and let me say this: is it by chance that he's been there for all this long while?
Well, I don't know if it's chance or not. But what I can tell you is, and in picking back on what Livingston said, because when I look at the, I think it was Hamlet, Mark and them do the reporting, when the bishop made the pronouncement, I never see Mike serve. Everybody in the audience have a mic in their hand, and they line up waiting to speak. Not a man speaking to mic and then give somebody else. When I watch, man a mic so, woman a mic so, next woman a mic. I said, well, where the hell is that? Like, one chance you
But let me say this, Skulls, and as you mentioned the River Sally. No, I've been talking, and I spoke to a number of Catholics, people who go to the Catholic Church. And one of the things I was getting is that, as it is, there needs to be more priests. In other words, we don't have enough. And what is very observant or instructive is that usually, if you look in some of the other areas, one priest covers a number of churches within a certain area. I don't know if they have a special name for it. So, for example, the priest in Tivoli, he would keep service in Tivoli, he would keep service in Moya, he would keep service. So they have a number of churches here that they are responsible for. Does Father Gerard Paul have that responsibility of being in other churches apart from River Sally?
I know not.
I don't know.
I would like maybe Bishop to tell us that, and if that is the case, maybe say why.
Yeah,
because from what I know, I mean, and that has been like that for a while. You have a priest, and I know, for example, for Tivoli in particular, the priest in Tivoli preaching in Tivoli, Moya, Montrose, Hermitage.
And Hermitage.
Yeah. So you have a number of churches that you're responsible for. And that is because I understand from talking to some people, because there is a shortage. There is not enough to, but for some reason, River Sally have enough priests.
River Sally have enough priests. But Godfrey, and that takes me to, and maybe that might be the last thing I might say, because I expect that you will let people chime in.
Yes. Well, the phone has been going quite a bit.
Right. So that's the last thing I would say on this, really, is that I believe that there are exciting times ahead. I mean, based on how you look at it, because listening to Father Paul and his pronouncements, it doesn't seem like he is taking the suspension very serious. And in fact, he pronounced that he'll be in River Sally, in the sanctuary, giving mass. So, I mean, and I listened to a news story tonight to the bishop, where the bishop basically said to him, don't go there, don't do that. So it seems like the bishop and Father Paul, things are probably going to get worse. Sunday will determine a lot of things. And in fact, I spoke to one of the parishioners this morning in Riverside, and she said to me, she dresses at 40 morning to go to church. 40 morning, she dresses in PT Pa to go up to go to church. And so I asked her who holding the service, and she tell me Father Paul. I said, but Father Paul can't hold service. She said, wait, Father Paul had to hold the service. So I wait to see what, and I think the whole nation kind of is holding its breath, wondering what would happen. I police will come and take out Father Paul in the sanctuary.
Godfrey, take some calls.
Yeah, it is going to be very interesting, and I'm anticipating. I'm looking. For that matter, I might even go to church Sunday. Put down my little bad clothes and go up in church. I ain't going in a long time. I ain't go to church, but I mean, I'm in solidarity with Father Paul.
You put it on your dan?
Yes, and I go in. Doc, where we go now? Why is it? Doc, you afraid of?
I was skip this Sunday coming.
You afraid the bishop?
I'm afraid the bishop.
I go in to church Sunday. So folks, our telephone line is open. The number is 435-2041. We would like to hear from you and your thoughts on this issue. Let's go to the telephone. We have a caller on the line. Oui Culture, good evening.
Hello.
Yes, good evening, caller.
I want to ask a question.
Sure.
If Jesus Christ come back on this earth right now, what do you think they will do with him?
Well, scholar said what he thought.
Well, let me tell you. Based on how Jesus Christ behaved, what we read about, they will consider Jesus Christ to be a terrorist. Yeah.
All right.
And here's something. For Harvey and them behaving like Herod and them who crucified Jesus Christ, they're ready to crucify Brother Paul. But I wish Brother Paul now could continue with the journey and ask all the churches to condemn what's going on in the Gaza day, because what's going on in the Gaza is genocide. And if the church can't see that means the church blind. They can't teach us nothing. I wish the church all the best, and they help the people who need help. The churches to help who need help, and if they can't help them, okay, go aside and give somebody else a chance. Amen.
All right, thank you, caller. Thank you. You all heard the caller?
Yes.
Yeah,
right. Okay. Lovely. 435-2041. That's the number you can call. Let's go back to the telephone. Oui Culture. Good evening.
Yes. Good evening.
Yes. Good evening, caller.
Thank you. So, a few observations. Father Paul seems to be very non-traditional. If you look at his hairstyle, he has an earring in his ear. I think he's a bit of a radical and maybe a deviation from what we expect from a typical Catholic priest. And therefore, that goes with the way he behaves. Whether it's right or wrong, that's not our purview to critique. On the other hand, Harvey, he overreaches a lot, above and beyond the boundaries and the limits of what he's expected to do. He is the bishop of the Catholic Church, but sometimes he acts like a lawyer, psychologist, doctor, politician. He overreaches beyond what he is expected to do, and he must stay within the ambit of what he is supposed to do. And so being, it's very hypocritical of him to say that Father Paul should not demonstrate against Gaza, because he does the same thing. When the teachers are demonstrating, he is very vociferous about what he thinks and what should happen. when there are lots of things going on politically, he always makes sure that he has his voice heard. And when his voice is heard, it has an influence on how people think. And he knows exactly what he's doing. He influences the way things happen and how we think. When we here in Grenada have issues, he always has to be a voice on the radio to say what he thinks. And this is exactly what Father Paul is doing. If he thinks that they must not get beyond a certain boundary, then he needs to also do that, or else he's being hypocritical. Thank you very much.
Thank you, caller. Thank you very much indeed. Doc?
I think she's clear enough. The caller sung very, very fluent, very clear in her thoughts.
Yep.
No need to comment. I think
Yeah, but you see, and there we go again. And the caller made mention of, Father Paul's probably non-traditional style. All right, and she made mention of his hair, and so on. But let's just go back a little bit, and let's look at Jesus Christ. I mean, from what we know, Jesus Christ didn't wear pants. He wore a long gown, but he had long flowing hair. He had his sandals in his feet, and he was. So it's basically the same.
I think part of Father Paul, Jerry, demeanor and message is not to be typical, and the protest is he's a living protester. His very way is not to conform to the European version. So his message and his way and his behavior fall in the same vein. Mm-hmm. So I think he's living testimony that he's been himself.
Yeah.
And so that is the caller made the observation correctly. So yeah, that's okay.
Let's go back to the telephone 435-2041. That's the number, folks. You can call, and we'll definitely love to hear from you. The number again, 435-2041. Now, the whole issue about let's go to we have a caller. Oui Culture, good evening. Hello.
Good evening. Good evening.
Yes, good evening, caller.
No, I'm listening to you all guys. I want to ask you something, Godfrey.
Mm-hmm.
If you are in an organization and what is happening within that organization, what would you do?
If what is happening with the organization?
Yeah. With the church.
Uh-huh.
If you are in it, well, the priest were part of the church. And if he doesn't like what is happening, what do you think he should do?
He should strive to make a change and make things better.
No, well, I would say get out.
Caller, let me ask you a question. So do you think that the bishop does not like what is happening?
Well, the bishop is and was playing his part.
No, I'm asking you, because you were talking about if someone doesn't like what happened, what they should do. I'm asking you, do you think the bishop likes or dislikes what is happening?
Well, how will the bishop like what is happening?
No, just answer me. Do you think...
No, I'm answering you. This is my answer.
Do you think he likes it or not?
Like what's happening and he expelled...
So he doesn't like it.
Well, because
so then, you're right. No, I understand you. So I'm saying, based on what you said just now, but you can't just dictate what happens here, caller. You have to know your rule.
It's taken.
Well, that is,
and I bet you all are not Catholic.
Caller, let me tell you something.
You have to respect the organization that you are in.
In your words,
if you doesn't like what is happening, then you get out.
So then, if the bishop doesn't like what is happening, he should get out.
Look, I want to...
Let's continue. I am not conforming. If you are going to speak and you are going to be across the board, fine. Don't come and tell me about me not Catholic. You don't know what I am. Let's go back to the telephone. Oui Culture, good evening.
So he doesn't like it.
Hello, good night.
Yes, good evening, caller.
Yes.
Can you turn the volume of your radio or TV down and listen on your telephone? Yes.
All right, All right.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, what I'm saying is, all right, we don't know what is in the bottom of that story, because it appears to me that the bishop was getting all kind of information and were not trying to clarify the information, to call Father Gerald Paul to let him know what is going on and what is not expected of him. Because it would not have reached that far if he had called him. Because he's saying how Jerry does not respect people and those things. No, you can't be saying that he doesn't respect because nobody knows. It is you that's saying it now. We don't know what was before, right? And another thing is, now the bishop time has come to retire. He retired since in November, right? So he would not have been there now saying whatever he had to say against Father Jerry Paul. He would not have been there now to say it because he would have been out, right? But he is there. And the worst kick to get from a horse, from a dying dog, is when he dying. When the donkey dying, that is the worst kick you get in, So at this present time now, I think, with due respect, I think the bishop is on, I wouldn't say on a wrong note, but I think he is on a note that he and all can understand the rhythm of the note that he on. Because right now, we lack of priests. We haven't got priests. And the reason why we haven't got priests and we haven't got local priests, when I shouldn't say priests, local priests, is because sometimes people are watching the attitude of the priests and how they go along and how they do things. So people is scared to even go in, to even have to even be in the priesthood, because the thing about it is that when you go in the priesthood, there is obligation and there is things that they expect of you. And if you're in there and you're not doing the right thing, then them have a right to say, well, look, this is not when you went to the monastery to become a priest. This is what is expected of that, and you didn't go on the right grounds and them kind of thing. So we ought to know definitely that we have to do something better than that. We have to do something. You have to step up on the plate, because the thing about it, the Nigerians are them coming down here. Thousands of them coming down here, and I guess that a lot will be coming down here, because seeing that we have priests, we have many local priests, they'll be coming down here and do what they want, because they're coming down here and they want to domineer people. They want to talk to women as they want to talk to them and all this kind of thing. And you can't talk back. You can't talk back with them, because the reason why you can't talk back is because that is how that is their policy up there. So right. You can answer him.
So caller, right? So we got the point, and we want to give some other people a chance to call as well. So thank you very much. All the best. Yes, no problem. All right. So the Queen has finally joined us. Good night, my dear. How are you doing, Your Majesty?
Good night. My apologies for not making the program earlier. As you know, I had another engagement, but I did tune in on radio, my first time, listening to a lot of the diatribe that was coming from you guys. Especially King Rain tonight.
Me, Baba.
Yes. King Rain. Good luck. I even hear King tell Livingston, hold on.
Yeah, constant every night.
He went back after Godfrey. So yeah, King Rain tonight. But I'm here. I'm here for the last of it.
Yeah. So your take, yeah. So maybe you need to give us your little take on what you know, how you feel about this whole thing and what has been out there.
First of all, I just want to say that Father Gerard is someone that I admire a lot. I like his style. I like that he has an unconventional look when it comes to priests. It's and I think it is something that is very welcome, because I feel like he's one of us. Like, he's part of the flock. He has his purpose, but he belongs, and he's very much Grenadian. So I like that about him. Typically, growing up, priests were of Caucasian origin, and few were black. And I just like that, you know, we have our own, and that he is very vibrant and in touch with what is going on in the world. In regards to what had I just would like to say also that usually wherever there is a funeral that Father Gerard is presiding over, I tune in. I don't have to know the people who died. I tune in, because to me, he always have things of substance to say, especially when he's doing the sermon. He always have things of substance to say. So I tune in. In terms of all that has been transpired since, it's been quite a lot. But I, like one of you had said earlier, I did not like. I got turned off when I heard the bishop go to the podium and, basically said that, he was not going to say anything, until he heard the diatribe. I thought that was a blow. I thought that was a blow, and it was a low blow. So everything else that transpired after, it is sort of like, it's like a soap opera. And there's a villain and there is a hero. And with Father Gerard being such a thoughtful person, he's my hero.
All of us hero. And just as an aside, he went to SAS. I just thought you should know. Yeah.
He went to SAS.
Yeah. Oh, of course.
Yes, and I could understand that it's the Anglican thing, like in Anglican high school and St. Andrew's Anglican secondary school. So I understand. I mean, you can beat your chest about that one.
Yeah, and what about the fact that he's from Tivoli?
The fact that he's from
you don't have to comment. You don't have to comment.
No. I am going to comment on that. No, you are going to allow me to comment on that. The fact that
I'm allowing you.
is great. The fact that you left Tivoli to go and live in Virgin Parish, I'll have the callers talk about that.
I have not left Tivoli. Let's get back to the telephone. We have a caller on the line. Oui Culture, good evening. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Yes. Can you turn the volume of your radio, your TV down? Listen to us on your telephone. Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. My take on the matter is the bishop would have addressed the nation, and in one of his addresses he mentioned having met with the other bishops and them recommending or suggesting that they be slow to speak on the matter. My take is, if that information was shared with the local clergy, Father Gerard would not have publicly said what he said, because he would have already received the information that we should be slow to speak on the matter. My two questions, though: what is the real reasoning for Father Gerard's suspension? Is it because he spoke on the matter, or the bishop felt disrespected by the way he went about it? Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, caller. Thank you.
Can I come in?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. So, the first thing that the caller spoke about in terms of the bishop saying, and I remember that interview where that thing where he said that I think he went to some thing in England, and the there were priests from both sides from the Gaza, Catholic and Anglican priests, and that the thing was that you should be slow to speak on that. I find that was that kind of gave me thoughts, like slow to speak in what context? Is it that the Anglican and the Catholic priests expected the bishops who were there to be on the side of Israel with what is happening, so they're saying be slow to speak because you don't know what's going on there? Because I find grave difficulty, right, with priests who are in the Gaza, right, seeing the mass genocide that is happening there, seeing what is happening, and saying to bishops, do not speak on it. I don't believe that.
I mean, this is, to me, this is the most nonsensical thing I've heard. Because I cannot understand how you could be slow to speak when children, babies, innocent people are dying in the streets, and you telling me that you have to be slow to speak.
And before you are a priest, you are a human being. You are a human being. So how is it that that any let's say it is a case where they are on the side of Israel. At the end of the day, you are a human being. How could you sit and be silent and think that this is okay? That is okay, and that this is a point where you take an instruction to not say anything. And I think that is why Father Gerard is my hero. Because regardless, he's a human being first and foremost. And wrong is wrong. Wrong is not partly right. Wrong is wrong.
I don't think it's just a human being. He's exercising and using his conscience.
But you see,
and he's not following others. And that's why I mentioned earlier on, there is a higher calling than that of the dictate of the institution. So he's following the higher calling. He believes that his direct connection is that with his God. And so man telling you not to speak, what you waiting for?
God, you are Reese and Godfrey. Take out to other call. I wasting time on that. Because trust me, I didn't take. But trust me, deep inside me soul, if I wrong, I will ask for forgiveness. But trust me, the bishop pull a fast one.
Well, look, just before I go to the telephone, I don't know. I mean, Reese mentioned about side. I don't know where side or what side have to do with that. That issue here, and the words that has to be spoken is about stopping the killing of. I mean. Let's go to the telephone. Let's go to the call. Let's go to it. Oui Culture, good evening. Hello.
Yes, good night.
Good evening, caller.
Yes, I'm just listening to the speakers. And good evening, and I'm just listening to you, and I'm wondering what is all that about, because my priest in St. Andrew talked to us about the situation and asked us to pray for the people, because what do you expect us to do? Send ammunition to fight? He told us about the situation, pray for the children and any other thing that we can do, but we cannot send ammunition to them. How else could we help? That's what I wanted to know. If Father Gerard did not speak to it about it in his area, we in St. Andrew, all priests spoke to us about it. He told us about the situation in Gaza and all the other places, and even in Grenada, what is going on with some of our people in Grenada. All that was spoken about. So I don't know what this is all that about to saying about priests did not say anything about it. I don't know which particular priest are they talking about, because in the Catholic Church it was spoken about and telling about the situation in Gaza and all the other places we have all this crime and asking us to pray for the people. And so I don't know what is all this story about. I really need some more explanation.
Thank you.
Let me explain.
Yeah.
I could explain that. Now, Father Paul, if the lady had listened to Father Paul, even after all of this, Father Paul did admit that the church was not entirely silent. That some people said, and some priests and so on, but it was not profound. He made
Skulls. Just hold that pin. Just hold that pin there. I want to take a call.
Okay.
We Culture. We lost it. Sorry. So let's go. Sorry.
Right.
Hold on.
Right,
let's go. We Culture. Good evening.
Hold on there, scholar. This is Citizen Rollo. I was invited to listen to the program, but let me brief. I'll go a little faster and your time running out. I heard just about probably 15 minutes of the inputs by certain people and even from you members of the panel there. But there's something that we're missing, which I think I should stress on. Roman Catholicism is a business. Roman Catholicism is a government. The church called the Roman Catholic Church is a business and a government. The quote-unquote religious facade is just the way they get to spread the quote-unquote influence throughout the world through their dogma. Through the whole on the paraphernalia and the mamagism and so on. There's never been an honest broker in this world. Historical references. Look at what they did to Galileo. I'm going to quickly. Pope Pius XII colluded with Adolf Hitler in the murder of the Jews in Europe. The Bishop of Zagreb in Croatia colluded in the destruction of thousands of children. It was the name of that camp again, but it was more than a concentration camp in Croatia. Come through the years and you would listen to the news and read even to in Portugal what they're doing to decide whether they should pay compensation to the abuse of young boys. We hear it all over the place. Roman Catholicism is a farce. It's the biggest charade that ever taken place. And what is happening today but the truth is that it is unfolded because there is a saying, well, whatever in the dark has to come to the light. In español le dice, las mentiras tienen patas cortas. Meaning that lies have short legs. They can only run fast. What we've seen unfolding before the eyes today is the Roman Catholic. So in this hierarchy, where nobody, because you are a member of the congregation, the low class, etc., like Padre Paul, you cannot challenge the bigger bosses. If you can't speak out a turn, and that is why they're getting back at him. But Father Paul represents the people because the people possess. As a people so possesses, if you could call them collectively, a level of humanity. So they speak about the evil that is taking place outside there. But that is not in the interest of the Roman Catholic hierarchy. So there's where it is, brothers and sisters. Let's identify. This is the doggone truth. Check the history and you will see. Roman Catholicism is a farce. The biggest bank in the world, the most... Lord, we can go on. So understand that part of it. What you're seeing is normal. Padre Paul, listen to me, man. You have my back. I have your back, Padre. I have your back. You're doggone right to talk about the injustice that's taking place. And you're doggone right to challenge the hierarchy of the Roman Catholic because they colluded evil. And I'll tell you one more thing. They are ashamed of their participation with Adolf Hitler in the destruction of the Jews in Europe. So, to show a level of atonement, because they're tortured internally, they cannot speak out about against the evil that the same level of people, a certain level of them, know as Zionists, which are equal to the fascist Nazis of Germany. In the aim to dominate the world, they cannot speak against it because the word Jew and Judaism comes in there. Hypocrisy and deceit to its highest level. Thank you very much for what it's worth. Have a nice evening, will you?
Thank you, caller. Thank you. All right, Skulls, yeah. So, go.
Yeah, let me finish, but well said, Citizen Rolo. I think you should. Right now, you go call us again.
Well, that won't stop you because I figure we had something substantial to share with the nation.
Full of substance. Yeah, so I just trying to explain the thing for the lady. Right? But Paul did say that some people have spoken, but not profoundly. in fact, he made mention of the fact that even the Pope, who he called on to speak more vociferously, right? He said, for example, that when the Pope spoke of same-sex marriage, that was a big thing all over the world. Everybody knew the Pope said that. But you have never heard really the Catholic Church and the hierarchy from Wales condemning the what is going on in the Gaza. You have never heard that. It has never been profound. What is even more, the bishop, by his very words, admitted it, because he said, as Rishi said, that he went to this thing and they were told to be very slow to speak on Gaza, which is an admittance that they are not saying enough and are not saying profoundly, and he is actually justified why that is so. So really and truly, I don't. That's what the issue is about. I mean, your priest might tell you, let's pray for Gaza on Sunday. You're not getting the bigger picture. Why? It's simple. The bishop himself admitted to it.
No, definitely, definitely. At that level, profound statements need to be made. Just as how all the other world leaders look. For example, the South Africans, they took the matter to the World Court. So there must be some level of forcefulness in addressing the issue, so that, and not because you taking Palestine side or you taking Israel sides, because the killing of innocent people, the massacre of innocent people must stop. That is the issue here. That is the issue. So Father Paul has since been suspended. What did he say? He said he suspended Father Paul indefinitely.
Defract, meaning that he cannot carry out any of the functions of the priest. Shouldn't wear the robe. He cannot give communion and blah blah blah.
Well, let's go to the telephone. We have a caller on the line. Oui Culture, good evening. Hello.
Good evening.
Yes, good evening. Can you turn the volume of your radio or your TV down? Listen to us on your telephone.
This question is to Mr. Livingston. It's a question I always want to ask. Our ancestors from Africa, who caught them, who chained them, and got them to the Europeans? Were they sold or were they bought? I want an answer.
They were captured. Most of them were captured.
Who captured them? Who put them in the chains?
Well, at one time there was some trading, but by and large, most of them were hunted and captured. Was there collaboration that took place with some Africans? The answer is yes. But by and large, the European came in drove, went in field and captured many Africans, particularly the Portuguese. Later on, they did incorporated some Africans themselves with some of the chiefs, some mercenaries, and went inland and did the same thing. But by and large, the Europeans was always at the forefront in raiding villages and capturing Africans. All the historical document points to that. It was not just people, our own Africans, just selling our people to Europeans. They come and show and they stay there. That was not the case. And the reason why they were, I have an idea why you're asking that. But the reason why they were doing that, and they were able to do that, they had a lot of much more superior weapons. So that gave them a main advantage in going in the fields, in going out and raiding villages.
Okay, the number 435-2041, and we're getting close to wrap up time, so we can accommodate a couple more calls before we wrap for this evening. But just to backtrack a bit, it would be rather interesting to see what would happen on Sunday. Let's go to the telephone again. Oui Culture, good evening.
Hi, good night.
Yes, good evening, caller.
Yes. I am grieving and I'm hurting over the whole thing with the Catholic faith. I am a Roman Catholic. And I am saying that they could have handled this thing different, right? Because we have a shortage of priests already. Right? And I don't know. The thing is that people just hurting and annoyed over the whole situation. Right? I just don't know. Every time I think about the thing, it makes me sick. Right? And I am looking at it that especially with the youth nowadays, we all are elderly people. We might stay with it, but we thinking about the younger people. Would they stay with the Roman Catholic with all this mess that is going on, or would they go to other churches? These are questions that we have to ask. Already, we have a shortage of youth. Where I seen a lot of the Roman Catholic youth, they've gone to other churches already, and with this thing, no, it might stem off more, right? The church might end up, Roman Catholic Church might end up there. We are our old people going out. The church might end up standing up there alone. So they should do better than that, and Father Harvey should have think and do better than that. We already have a shortage of priests. So I don't know how this problem will solve now, because that thing look as he have a big division there now with the Roman Catholic Church. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Thank you. As it relates to the division aspect of it, I mean, I think that has been seen already.
Well, Godfrey, 2 days ago, there were two priests in my yard. They came to visit me. Not on that issue, but they came by me. And I couldn't help the temptation, but raise that very question. And of course, they were very tight-lipped. But one of the things they said that they were very concerned because about that discussion demoralizing and maybe having an impact, just like the lady just mentioned it, for priests and attracting people into the faith or into the institution. They were very worried about that having a major impact. And they admit that this is a discussion that is taking place very intensely throughout the whole Caribbean as it relates to priesthood and the role of priests. But one of them also cited that at the end, one of them actually from Trinidad, at the end of that might be a silver lining, that the church might have to step up and play a more proactive role in the line of what Father Paul is saying, and address and sympathize more with people that are being down-pressed, to be more empathic, to people that are being oppressed. So, they're not so sure what will happen, but that there might be a silver lining that the church has to go through a reformation.
No, yes, I do believe that, and I don't. You never know. Maybe the church might look at the possibility of revising some of its rules, and if that is done, it may help to maybe I don't want to say solve, but to sort of soften some of the issues that are echoed. So
But right? Again, if the church fall apart and a new something common that is more meaningful, because they don't have to be Catholicism.
Well, I can tell you one thing. I mean, if you for I mean, people who believe in the Bible, based on that, the Catholic Church wouldn't fall apart.
Godfrey.
Hey.
At the start of the program, you said, I think I made some remark as it relates to Tivoli. and you said that Livingston was the big man in Tivoli. And now I can understand what you're saying, because you could imagine 2 priests go by Livingston. You know? I never see 2 priests together yet. And 2 priests go by Livingston.
Yeah, but you forget it, not just priests. You forget pastor does come out all over the world in the Caribbean and come back. I don't know, they're not come out, they're going to leave with it by him, you know. So I tell you, don't watch Doc, so Doc does have healers and things.
If 1 priest go by Livingston, 2 priests Livingston.
Yeah.
2 priests go by Anu. Nah. I find Livingston like that.
Let me tell you something. That's why I was being precise when I told you that the man is the big man. Let's take a final call before we make our final comments. Oui Culture, good evening. Hello.
You are an idiot, Godfrey.
All right, thank you. Same to you, and enjoy church on Sunday when Father Paul preaches. All right, yeah. You see, and these are the things that creates problem in the Catholic Church, because there's the one that called just now and say that if Father Paul don't like what happened, he should go. But if the bishop don't like what happened, he should stay. So you see what happened in the Catholic Church.
And based on what a lady tell us now, because we didn't know. I don't know if what she said is true. The bishop was supposed to go since.
Well, exactly. But the man, he turned and he said, he's sure we're not Catholic. So you remember the comparison they made about an old gay right and an old Catholic? No matter what you do, they can change. So Papi, I'm old timer. I hope you go to River Sally Sunday. I will be there and I'll be chanting for Father Paul. He ain't going no way. Guys, we practically out of time, so let's make our final comments.
Let me start.
No, I want Risi start. Risi come last.
No, I don't start.
Let Risi take last. No, I'll start. And here is what I want to put on the table, right? Now, I'm hearing all this talk because, as I said, the thing has moved on from the Gaza to disrespect. I think a lady asked that, disrespect of the bishop and so on and so forth, and where would it end and what have you. And this gentleman, even that called you an idiot, even went so far as to say that if the priests don't like what's going on, the priest shall leave and go, and so on and so forth. And I listened to Pastor Stanford Simon, as he broke down the thing and spoke of the order of the church, and he also spoke of if the bishop, the priest could do that, children are watching, so it is a bigger thing. Children might feel they could tell the teacher what they want, and so on and so forth. And parishioners or everybody in the church could just tell the bishop what the pastor what they want, and children could just tell the father and the mother what they want, and so on. And that, to me, is a simplistic way of looking at the thing as far as I'm concerned. But let me just present an alternative to the whole thing, all right? So, and I believe, had it been handled in this way, we would not have been where we were now, and it would have been effective, more than likely. And probably a lot of people, a lot of leaders, because they talk about the leadership in the church, but leaders must lead, all right? Leaders don't just have to lead by being the big top man and everybody else bow and courtesy to you. And when you say that, you think leaders must lead and lead by example and lead in a way that shows wisdom. All right? And I am not certain that the bishop's leadership exercised wisdom whatsoever. No, it would have been simple, and alternatively, if Father Paul say what Father Paul said, the bishop listen what Father Paul said, the bishop as he said he was not going to say anything, maybe she will stick to that. Don't say nothing. And then at the end of the thing, when everything, they call Mr. Father Paul behind your quarters, and you give Mr. Father Paul a good tongue licking, and you tell him, Mr. Man, this thing, and then exactly what he said in the public domain and whatnot. He undressed Father Paul quietly, so that Father Paul lives with his dignity and so on and so forth. Because I think all this is what caused the breakdown. When you call out the man saying that tribe and you think that then the man gone on the offensive and everything spirals from there. All right? And it might have been a better alternative, stronger leadership, more wise leadership ready. You pull the man aside in your close quarters inside there and you give him a tongue lashing. And you tell Father Paul the wrong time. That was not the time for this. And look, we go in England and they say, do this, so to speak on that, and so on and so forth. I believe that might have been a better alternative, and we would not have been where we are. That's
right. That's
my 2 cents.
Doc?
So you want me to go now?
Yeah, Carrie says you're going last.
Right. So I want to recognize 2 things. The first one, I was happy to hear Citizen Rolo tonight. I missed you. I was really happy to hear you. And then I also I sent out something to Mr. Franklin Marshall. I haven't heard him in a while. I hope you are well, sir. If you are listening, I miss hearing you. The wisdom you brought to the program, I miss hearing you also. And I want to use one example, Godfrey, in closing. That if you are in the police service, you join the RGPF. And when you join the RGPF, you have rules and laws governing, but you also have a hierarchy of commanders. And as a police officer, you go on a raid. And you recognize that your actually presiding officer, your supervisor, is involved in some kind of drug, he's a kind of compromise position where he's involved in handling drugs in a very illegal way. You have a choice. Sometimes you might go through, it happen once or twice. Everybody hearing me? I find everybody freeze.
No, we don't. We listen you. Yeah, we listen you.
Yeah. So you on this drug bus, and you're wondering, you want once, and secondly, and you're involved in taking drugs and peddling it and pushing it in a different path. You have a choice. You could follow the command, the police high command that gave you the instruction to do something, or you should go back to that service chat that you signed, whereby you are there to serve and to protect and to prevent those kind of things. And then you could take the lower road and the covered road, which is you continue involvement in this drug handling, etc. Or you could make the second choice, the higher calling, which is you can be a whistleblower and decide that you're going to on all this wrong thing that is happening in the RGPS. I believe that is what the dilemma that faced Father Paul, and he took the higher road. You follow the command of his superior and stay within the ambit of the church and the institution and wait to be, to be given a command when you should speak and what you should speak about. Or you may choose the higher road and you say your ultimate champion, your ultimate superior is your Lord and Jesus Christ. And so you are going to choose that high road. And so in that is how I see it. That is what I believe that took place. That is, I believe, the road Gerard Paul took. And so in that regard, like all the other heroes of the past, I commend him for the heroic and brave stand he took, not in bashing his church, but he's calling them to maintain and to remain and that higher order and to serve that higher order, rather than just serving the man and the institution. That is my final closing remark.
Thank you. Risi?
You mute.
Risi? Yeah, Risi muted. Yeah.
You mute, Risi.
I think a lot have been said about this by everyone. And I share a lot of the sentiments that has been expressed. I am looking on keenly to see how this whole thing plays out and the impact it would have Outside of that, I just want to say to everyone, have a very good weekend. And to all the people who been meeting me on the street and, talking about the show and loving the show, missing the show, I hope that you're tuned in tonight, and I want to wish you as well a very good weekend. So, guys, that's it for me. I am tired.
Thank you. So guys, thank you. I just want to make a quick thing on what Scholar said about leadership. And I think he was bang on target. A wise leader don't beat him chess. And, but creates the enabling environment for your people to do what they have to do in the best possible way. That's what a wise leader would do. I want to make a call to people out there, churchgoers. A lot of people go to church, whether it's Sunday, Saturday, whenever they go to church, and this is general. And they sit down and the preacher or the priest, whoever go and preach, you listen, and then you get up and you go home. And sometimes I wonder how many of them actually pick their Bible up and read and, try to understand what is written in the scriptures so that they themselves are not just taking what is fed them, but they kind of understand what is going on. When Jesus Christ came on the earth, Jesus Christ came for a purpose. He didn't come to condone wrongdoing, but he came to deal with issues. He called out the scribes and the Pharisees. He called out all the wrongdoers, everybody. And when he left to go back on his father's side, he left people. He said he gave some priests, he gave some pastors, he gave some whatever to continue the work. And I just want to end, and I'm going to read a part of scripture. And I'm reading that because of my strong support to Father Gerard Paul. And it is from the book of Isaiah, chapter 58. And it says, verse 1, cry aloud, spare not, lift up your voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgression in the house of Jacob. Show them their sins. Good night, folks. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll be back next Friday for another edition of We Culture. Good night, guys. All the best.
Good night.
Raise it high up the ladder. Let we set it on fire. A little more calypso, forget the funk and the disco. A little more limbo, a little more Shango.